discussion a little further, let us actually take a look at how much the prices for some goods are expected to fall and how you, the end consumer, is going to benefit from this windfall gains that the government has made possible. So, okay, so let's look at some daily items, some daily essentials from the GST reform. Hair oil, GST before was at 18%. Now it's been pushed down to 5%. Of course, that's the only bracket in the bottom. The average price was around 118 to 120 rupees per 100 gram. So, of course, you're going to be saving somewhere around 12 rupees on 100 gram of oil, and this is of course the best conjecture that we can come up with. There could be savings which are higher in number. Toothpaste is obviously a daily essential, had a GST of 18%. That has been brought down, and of course if you look at the 100 gram figures for the average price before and the average price now, there is a saving of 8 rupees. Same is the thing with shaving cream or shaving foam. It's been brought down to 5%. The saving here is 8 rupees, and of course all of these add up in the long run. Daily essentials like butter, cheese, ghee, all of course will be gaining a lot they in fact will be losing price, but they will be gaining demand because of the reforms here. It was 12% and now it's 5%. Pre-packaged namkeen, utensils, diapers, all of these things have been made cheaper. So of course an item like a diaper, which is usually bought not in singles but in huge packs, is obviously going to be cheaper for all those families who have newborns. And moving on to baby napkins and sewing machines and baby feeding bottles as well. First of all, a lot of times it was being wondered that why are these commodities, these innocuous, harmless commodities, being charged at 12%, but the government has rationalized. They've come to a conclusion that they need to in fact bring down the GST on them, and now it's at 5%. So of course the demand for these products is going to skyrocket as well. Even people who found them to be unaffordable in the past will be able to buy them. Tractors, extremely important to bring down the tax from 18% to 5%. This is of course going to give a huge fillip to the farming sector. The savings is going to be approximately in and around 40,000 rupees per tractor. Drip irrigation systems, combined harvester machines, all of them are now in the 5% bracket. And look at the savings, around 1.5 lakh for a combined harvester machine, which is used very sporadically, very commonly in the farming sector. All of these reforms, of course, making your pocket fatter. Thermometers, medical grade oxygen, of course was at 12%. It's been brought down to 5%. A number of medicines, life-saving medicines, some of the medicines that are to be taken after chemotherapy or with radiotherapy for people who are suffering from cancer will also benefit. Thermometers, of course, no reason to have the 18% GST on them. They will of course be cheaper now. Medical grade oxygen used in hospitals, used in ICUs, of course, is also going to become cheaper now. So overall health care is going to become cheaper, but is that going to affect your premiums? There's a GST that has been removed from those premiums as well. Maps, charts, lead pencils, notebooks, good news for students as well. All of these items, consumable items by students in schools, will become cheaper now. They were under the 18 or the 12%, and now there is no GST on them. It's been completely removed. Of course, this is a very, very welcome move. The students are going to appreciate it. The parents in government schools are also going to appreciate it. Parents in private schools are also going to appreciate it. These were some of the items which, of course, were flagged in the past as well, that they should not have any GST. Petrol cars from 1500 cc were at 28%. They will come down to 18% now, and a saving of approximately 70,000 is in the order here. Diesel cars more than 1500 cc at 18% now, another saving of 80,000 rupees. It's the opportune time for these GST reforms to kick in. The festive season is around the corner. Motorcycles, anything greater than 350 cc is going to be falling under the 18% bracket now. So basically making that bike cheaper by 15,000 rupees. These are fabulous reforms, and these are reforms that obviously are being put forth and articulated because they will make the Indian economy stronger. They do bring in a sense of relief for the common man as well. And most of all, Kashish Gupta, they will take care of the inflation as well. Citizens love it when things get cheaper and consumption grows. Let's not forget that bringing people out of a certain class, lower middle class, to an upper middle class is a challenge for any government. China has done it consecutively for 4 decades now. They brought about 800 million people out of poverty. India has also managed to do that with a number of people. How is this move going to help for a lot of Indian families to get to the next threshold of an income bracket? Kashish, that's for you.
Oh, thank you, Vinit. So now, Vinit, there is a saying that good things take time. That means whenever we are starting new, a little time needs to be given to experiment things, to work towards them, and to make a better good out of it. So we saw that during UPA regime also, or the before the time when GST was introduced, it was in 2017 that government brought in this new tax of GST. And when it was introduced, a lot of indirect taxes submerged were removed, and finally a single tax was introduced. Now, before that, there were a whole lot of taxes. To be particular, two major taxes, which was sales tax by states and service tax or excise by the central government. Now, with this introduction of GST, what happened was the flow of credit become a little more seamless. That made sure that whenever you are utilizing certain goods for providing services or utilizing services for providing or selling goods, the credit of both these things is passed on. Now, at that point of time, what government did was they did not introduce new tax rates. What they did was they calculated how much approximate tax people are already paying on it and then simply drafted into GST. Say, for insurance, we were paying 15% service tax, and then there were other indirect taxes which were being paid. So government brought it into 18% tax rate. Now, after 8 years of GST, what government did was slowly and gradually. So, where are the potential areas wherein they can directly benefit the lower middle class, or the general public at large? And then they reduce those taxes, maybe after the demand from public, after demand from industry, or after considering themselves. For example, this GST on insurance premiums, which was approximately 15% before GST era and 18% since last 8 years, have been reduced to 0%. And now, if you ask me or any other person, they will simply say that it is a big reform because no one would like to pay 18% GST on insurance, which is a very important part for anyone. Now, on one hand, we used to provide deduction of 80C, which is a very common deduction, very widely known for buying insurance premiums. And then at the other hand, in GST, we were charging 18% tax on that. So that was kind of unjust. So government took a note of the same and reduced those taxes. If you see closely, most of the areas where government has reduced taxes are either of importance to general public, like the basic items you spoke about, soaps, toothpaste, general household items. Then the next is electronics, TV, washing machine, etc. The next, small cars or motorcycles up to 130 cc. So these reforms will directly benefit the middle class or the lower middle class. Then apart from this, I would also like to take it a notch up higher because we are only talking about the consumers, the ultimate consumers. But in that consumer base, we also have a very important section which helps run the economy of our country. That is the traders, the manufacturers, or the small businesses. Now, for small businesses, there are further reforms that are being introduced. The first one, refunds. For exporters, there is a refund of the government has provided a provision of provisional refund of 90% within lesser time. Then registrations, easy registration within 3 days. The next is for businesses providing or selling through e-commerce operators like Amazon, Flipkart. So government has brought in something for them also, though not clearly provided, and it will definitely come in place sooner. Now, what we expect from government is to further look onto certain areas which have been overlooked or which have not been considered since the start of GST, like petrol, diesel, etc. Once these also come into the bracket of GST, we are very sure that it will bring in another level of savings to the households. Now, as per a report or as per the statement of our revenue secretary, these changes will give a short-term revenue deficit of somewhere around 48,000 crores. Now, how do the government plan to manage it? So let me uh, share a data by Bank of Baroda, which says that after these changes, there will be a boost of 0.2 to 0.3% in the overall Indian economy by the next year. Now, what this means is there will be higher consumption and higher investments. Now, historically, one more thing is there that whenever such kind of indirect tax reforms are introduced, then the tax base widens. The compliance when the compliances become easier, the tax base widens, which will ultimately make sure that more and more businesses are coming into the tax brackets, the tax regimes. They will become more compliant, and in long term, we will definitely be able to cover the short-term revenue gap of
All right, let me also
46,000
get a
crores,
response from
48,000
Dr.
crores.
Dua on this as well. Dr. Dua, how do you respond to what Kashish has said, that this is obviously going to have a cascading effect